Are we live? Shama! Now we're live. All right, we're back. Another episode. Caught you to the airwaves. Coming off a huge event. WrestleMania. The Rock is back, guys. The Rock is back. No, seriously. All right. I think we're going to move it a little slow today. Fucking UFC 300. Headlined by Jamal Hill, Alex Pereira. Riddled with amazing fights throughout. Before we start, what the hell did I want to get into? I feel like I'm a hot mess right now. I'm in need of a haircut. I'm fighting with my barber. My barber is like my bitter girlfriend right now that is not talking to me, and I need a haircut, and we're beefing, and I don't know what to do about this situation.
I can help you out, bro. I got you.
Yeah, recommend me the proper brand of razor. And honestly, I am close. Like I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm thinning up top, guys. I'm thinning. I'm just gonna put it out there to the ether that I'm thinning, and that I actually look forward to the day. I look forward to the day where my hair is thin enough where I'm just like gonna shave it and then just keep shaving it, because I feel like it's just so. It's so much less to take care of and freeing. You might tell me.
Bald
give me the experience.
Well, I could do a whole podcast on just being bald. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to do that? That's hilarious.
No, but I look forward to it. All right, where do we start? Honestly, I was thinking obviously most times we go in order, but I feel like we got to start with. I mean, I broke out the hoodie. I've worn this hoodie many times in the past doing this podcast. Anytime it's a Max Blessed Holloway fight week, I break out the hoodie before and after. I have another one that's lent out to a friend that I need back. They're kind of claiming it, but that's not going to happen. But the BMF. I feel like we got to start with the BMF, right?
Have to.
Well, first of all, we did not get to watch it together. You had a watch party out in Beacon.
Yep.
And then you said it got crazy, so you moved it back to the crib, right?
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. I had it out over here at my crib. You're always welcome, bro. Come through.
Yeah.
Come through.
You know how it is? Like, whenever it's a fight night or whatever, it's just like you get 8 people hitting you up.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out where you're going to watch it. But
no, I know. It's funny because the night before I was talking to people. I'm like, yeah, I'll hit you up tomorrow. Yeah, I'd love to come through. And then as time got closer, I was like, I don't want mad people at my house. I'm trying to take in this event, and I got to hear the commentary. I got to hear the jokes and the things that go on, and also the promos. Even last night we had a friend come over, and every so often he would get carried away in conversation. I'm just I just ignore it. I was like I'm listening to this. I need to know what's going on here. Yeah. So you can't be fucking around with casuals on big pay-per-view nights.
Nah, you can't.
It kind of
start asking dumb questions.
Yeah.
What weight is this fight at? It's like,
I know, and then everyone's explaining and talking, and then you're missing fucking crazy moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I feel like I took it in as a whole from start to finish pretty well.
Pause.
No Diddy. First time we're dropping the no Diddy on the podcast. The diddler. But yeah, I feel like, all right, so let's start with the BMF. Fucking Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje. If there was ever a perfect matchup to declare a BMF,
this is it.
This was it, and this was similar to Justin Gaethje gets props to knock out Poirier for the BMF. Respect, you know what I mean? You deserve the BMF. And then what better opponent to bring up next than Max Holloway, who comes up from featherweight again to lightweight. Had time to put on weight this time and put on some muscle the proper way. He looked good. He was not muffin top Max, as he was referring to himself.
Yeah, he didn't look like a small 55er either. He looked like a regular size 55er.
No, he looked good. He looked like lightweight Max. Yeah. And honestly, just off bat, he touched Justin Gaethje, many times in that fight where it affected Gaethje. Wobbled him, sat him down. I mean, obviously, and closes it out in the final second of the fight, literally final second of the fight, with a fucking knockout. And
dude, I think the BMF title, I thought at first it was kind of corny, and now it's nah, I want them to keep doing it. Who would you have Gaethje, or who would you have Holloway fight if you were to do another BMF title?
I'm happy you brought this up. I feel like this is a nice little path of it, right? So, you know how they just announced Conor McGregor's coming back, right?
Yep.
Now I feel like Conor McGregor I don't think he's excited to come back to win like the lightweight against Islam if Islam's the champion still.
Bad stylistic matchup.
Bad stylistic matchup. And now I feel like what better to do than if Conor can beat Chandler, but like let's say spectacular fashion, maybe he gets a knockout, and then you match up Conor Max for the BMF at lightweight.
Yeah, that
could be it. Although, did you hear that the Conor fight's at 170?
Yep.
So maybe Conor could be done with lightweight too. And I could also see Max saying "fuck you" and I'll come up to 170 anyway.
I think Max was pretty strategic with his call out of Topuria because you got to think like Merab is going to fight O'Malley, right? Islam versus Poirier is booked, so yeah, I think like it makes sense.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's why Max is the man because although he did this fight because obviously they gave him a bag, he got the bonuses. They got fight of the night and performance bonus, $600K in Max Holloway's pocket, which I guess we should talk about that just because, I mean, we all talk about it behind like all week, so it's kind of like old news at this point, but for the podcast reason, you have to bring it up. Dana White upped the bonuses from $50K to $300K, and Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje got fight of the night, which they both get $300K, and then Max gets performance bonus, extra $300K. So this man got like at least $1 million probably purse. I feel like they hook Max up. He gets like a good deal with the UFC.
And Dana even said he's going to hook up a bunch of other fighters. He's probably going to give them 50 or whatever.
Yeah,
100.
50, 100, 150. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like
they do a lot of undisclosed.
A lot of stories come out years later about how like the UFC takes care of, they take care of their people. That's why it always annoys me when you hear people like throw shade about like, oh, they don't pay the fighters. It's like, listen, at the end of the day, you're on the big stage with the UFC, and if you do something spectacular, it doesn't go unnoticed. You know what I mean? It's more like keep that same energy, and you're gonna be a star type shit, or we're gonna put a little, and of course, a little extra money in the pocket. Even dudes that don't even necessarily deserve it from performance, that have something going on in their life, if it hits home enough, they take care of you. So it's just like it is what it is. You can't complain too much, otherwise it's a bad look. You just gotta like shut up, train. The Cam Hanes way. No one cares. Work harder. You know what I'm saying? No one cares. Work harder. Like, oh, I don't want to fight this person. It's like it's a sport, bro. You're gonna fight each other eventually. And now Topuria, we were talking about this last night. Topuria, like in these past few weeks or months since he won, is like, I'm not fighting him. Why would I go to his backyard? This and that, and that's a bad sign already. You're just like you're getting too picky, choosy. You just won the belt. You know what I mean? Now guess what? That energy that you basically just manifested your hardest opponent in front of you now. Max Holloway coming down from lightweight, probably going to keep some of that power. He's going to be a scary Max Holloway.
It is, 100%. I'd like to see him stay at lightweight, but obviously, him versus Topuria is a great matchup. With the going back real quick with the Islam matchup, I didn't make that up, right? I saw it this morning.
Oh, Islam Poirier.
Yeah, Islam Poirier. It's going to be at Newark. Yeah.
We should go. We should go. Boys trip.
That's a good idea right there.
Boys trip.
I like
no
that.
Diddy.
Definitely no Diddy on the boys trip. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I think I think that's a good fight. It's interesting though. I don't know how I feel about Poirier. I mean, he got the win, but I would like to see him fight somebody else. I don't know if he's ready for Makhachev right now. I don't know.
And the annoying part with that matchup is like Poirier could get it done, but we know he's not gonna not throw guillotine or
jump guillotine.
He's not gonna jump a guillotine.
Don't be silly, jump the gilly.
And he's gonna do it. And like that's kind of what got him fucked with Khabib. You know what I'm saying? Like, although how cool would it be if he jumped guillotine and was able to choke out Islam?
I mean, he had Khabib in a tight guillotine.
Oh my gosh.
That'd been crazy.
So yeah, I guess there's really not like that much to say about it other than like what a fucking crazy ending. Like great fight back and forth. I guess you got to bring up how Max threw that spinning back kick right to the face and broke his nose, shattered his nose immediately in the first round.
And he landed it every time. He threw like 8 of them. Yeah,
it's one of his weapons.
He jumps with it too.
He hits you to the ribs real good with that fucking spinning back kick. He has taken the wind out of many opponents with that kick, and this one just happened to land on the face. And then how badass is Justin Gaethje to like break your nose, keep his composure. You could tell he was feeling it in that first in between round in the resting spot, but he kept coming out and fighting. You know what I mean? Props to Justin Gaethje, but that ending was absolutely insane.
Even before that, Gaethje, like 10 seconds left or whatever, 15 seconds left, he tried a rolling thunder kick.
Oh,
he always does
yeah.
that front flip and tries to hit you with his heel. It's like, damn, man. And he kind of knew he was down on the scorecards. He knew he had to just throw something out there, but he's a dog till the last second, literally till the last second, obviously.
Yeah,
Crazy.
who in the night threw that crazy axe kick that landed? Like they threw an axe and it landed.
Sarukian.
Yes,
Yeah.
And it landed on him. That was cool.
That was super cool.
But yeah, so
did you see he punched the fan? Did you see?
Yeah.
We gotta talk about that when we get to that fight. That was funny.
Get to it. But that ending sequence with Max though, like we all know that's kind of what pushed him into stardom the first time was that moment, the first time against was it Ricardo Lamos?
Yep.
The pointing at the ground, let's fucking bang. That kind of pushed him into stardom that moment, and then pulls it out again, the BMF, and closes it out last second of the fight. Not a TKO, absolute hit Justin Gaethje.
It's the first time Gaethje's been straight up slept like that.
Slept.
Like he's been TKO'd where he's wobbled, but he always up arguing with the ref. He was out for an uncomfortable amount of time. You know what I mean?
No, like
it's like I started getting nervous. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, man. And oh my god, he must be feeling some type of way. But Max is just nothing but respectable. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna have anyone do that to you, you know what I mean? Like at least it was Max Holloway. Like what I've said this a million times here, outside, whatever. Max is like one of the few in the sport, in the UFC, that is just like the epitome of what a mixed martial artist should be. Like true fight spirit, nothing but respect to his opponents. It's no harm, no foul. He just trains hard. He says all the right things. He doesn't get too crazy, and he just walks in there and gives it his best. You know what I mean?
That's what made Gaethje such a great opponent. He's very similar, and they're like not trashing. They're not talking trash at all leading up. They just know it's going to be an absolute banger.
Yep. And now Max is going to go down. Hopefully, fight Topuria. And could you imagine if he reclaimed the belt? And then I feel like at that point he can keep that belt, come up to lightweight, do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
So,
still relatively young, right? He's 32 maybe.
Yeah, and he does not let you forget it either. He's like, I'm here to stay.
Yeah.
I listened to all their this morning. I listened to all their interviews, their press conference interviews at the end. Some interesting stuff in there. Which a cute moment from Wei Li. They asked her if she saw the Max Holloway fight and what she thought about it, and she was like pretty much giving Max props, saying that how fluid and what a great fighter he is, and that she was not as fluid this night and wants to be more like Max Holloway. It was just a cool nod. But so let's backtrack. Let's go to the main event now. Alex Pereira. I mean, pretty straightforward performance here against Jamal Hill. What was your thoughts on this?
I thought that's what was going to happen. I didn't think first round. Yeah. I thought it was going to take him a little bit of time. He was going to get, a few reads. But, man, that's, insane. 3 minutes and 14 seconds? Yeah.
Yep. First round KO.
It was the first clean punch he landed. That's what they're saying. It's like,
and it wasn't even that clean.
No, it wasn't. But that's all he needs. You just got to turn your head a little bit.
And earlier this week, Alex Pereira hit the punching machine, broke Francis Ngannou's record.
Yeah,
apparently, whatever that means,
Yeah.
But broke his punching record that everyone made such a big deal about when Francis did it, and kind of went under the radar this time, and then comes in here, and you kind of believe it because you're like, man, I mean that left hook, anything from his left hand is just absolute
deadly
danger.
Did you see Jamal Hill before the fight asking for his autograph?
Yeah. Oh, like in the week?
Yeah. I thought that was weird because he was like kind of trash talking him, and then like he was almost trying to like hype himself up.
Yeah.
Like trash talking Pereira. And like it's kind of tough to trash talk Pereira.
Yeah.
Unless you're Izzy, because they have that history, But Pereira, like, it's also cool to see Pereira's personality coming out now.
Oh yeah.
Like now he's starting to
Shama.
He's starting to talk a lot more, and even like he even showboated a little bit, which he never does.
Oh, by the way, mark the time. I have I already took the screenshot of the picture of the celebration.
That's a good one.
First of all, it was just so like it was kind of like out of character. Like you don't expect that from him, but it was so funny. Like,
it was funny.
It was great. It was almost like the spirit of all the fights with him and Izzy, all those those celebrations afterwards. You know what I mean? It's just keeping it alive.
Yep.
Man, Alex Pereira, what a crazy I just keep thinking about how this guy, like, just to sum up, it's so crazy, man. It's so crazy how he fought Israel Adesanya in kickboxing. And he was an amazing kickboxer, a known kickboxer, but then became more known because Joe Rogan really spread the awareness of this guy who beat Israel, because Israel was a big deal in the UFC, became
Yep.
champion, and Joe Rogan started to talk about on the podcast like, there's a guy out there that has a KO over Izzy and 2 wins over Izzy.
And then when he was fighting for LFA, he was just knocking dudes out in like 30 seconds.
Silly,
Yeah.
Knocking dudes silly.
Same thing, left hook. Jab the body, left hook.
And kind of seemed like complacent with his spot in kickboxing and his skills and where he was, like probably making like okay money, definitely for where he's from and where he lives. I'm sure he was fine and comfortable for his means. And then to see Izzy like talk shit, and then Joe Rogan talk about him, and then all of a sudden I'm sure people are reaching out to him, and then all of a sudden he makes his way into the UFC. It's like a oh shit moment. Quick fast track, couple knockouts later, he's fighting Izzy, knocks out Izzy in the 5th round, claims the middleweight champ, the belt, and then obviously rematch, doesn't go his way, goes up to light heavy, becomes a double champ, and then here we are defending his belt. Like we were talking about, he's a Hall of Famer already.
Oh yeah,
he's a Hall of Famer in the UFC. He's a UFC Hall of Famer.
And they're saying he hasn't hit year 3, right?
No,
year 3, and it's crazy how much he's done in what, a little over 2 years.
And
Insane.
Now, what do you think next? Is it the Yuri rematch?
Well, he was talking about going up to heavyweight, so he was like, "So what do you do with that?" I don't know. He's going to have to defend the 205 belt at some point. So.
Dana got asked about it, and Dana said, not that he didn't really say it as like a factual thing, but or a set in stone. But he did say, and when Dana feels something, it's kind of what he'll push you towards. Which was, man, he looks good at light heavyweight. I think we should keep him here at light heavyweight for now.
Do you think you do Yuri rematch? I don't know.
Or who's the other one out there? Who else is out there? I saw something earlier this week on Instagram that Ankalaev said that he was offered the fight with
that's what everybody's talking about too.
Maybe Pereira just gets a quick little defense in there against Ankalaev. Not trying to say that he'll dismiss him that easily, because Ankalaev is well rounded.
But he'll bounce back quick because he wants to be right back out there again, which is awesome.
It could be a nice challenge, a nice defense under his belt to fight Ankalaev. Maybe you do it on on any pay-per-view that needs a little jump, because now he's a star. He's just gonna bring eyes every time he fights now. He's like the new Adesanya, but even more loved, honestly. And it's so funny because he doesn't even speak English. He just and he doesn't even make facial expressions.
No, that's perfect. That's
I know, he's a stone cold motherfucker.
Just stoic.
What's
crazy is it seems like almost every weight class now the strikers are starting to take over. Like the past 3 years, now it's like most of the champions are strikers now.
Yeah.
Even the guys with wrestling backgrounds choose to strike.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see that shift.
Like look at Islam. I mean, he gets crap, but that dude could strike, man.
Yeah.
Islam is actually entertaining on the feet as well.
Then you got you got Aspinall, you got O'Malley.
Look at Sarukian too.
Sarukian, Taporia, all these guys are straight up strikers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
cyclical though, and if another year or two, it's going to be all grapplers again. So I like that.
I know. Well, you got. All right. So with that one, I guess we'll see what's next. I mean, I think he probably stays at light heavy. I don't think you can't put him up against Tom Aspinall. It would just be a crazy move to just.
It's just not worth the risk.
Make it next.
Yeah.
Maybe like in the future, like let him just sort of get his grounding here, and then let's see what happens with Tom and John Jones and everything, and then let the heavyweights play out, let it become official, and then see what happens.
I agree.
How cool would that be if he became a 3-way champion?
I know. Insane. Yeah, even just getting he was talking about not even a title fight. I think he was saying he wants to a heavyweight fight, just being able to compete in 3 different weight classes.
Yeah.
If he gets somebody who's exciting, but I don't know, it's kind of tough. There's no heavyweight out there that really interests Dana, at least, I
mean, you could do like Stipe would be a good matchup for him.
Yeah. That would be cool.
I keep thinking too, him and John Jones would be entertaining, except for I think John just would utilize his wrestling too well, and I think that Pereira has stepped up his game in the grappling department. He got a black belt. You saw that?
Yeah.
They gave him his black belt, and
everybody was kind of clowning him or whatever. People were talking shit about that, but it's I'm sure he grapples every single day. I'm sure he has very good guillotines, a very good takedown defense, and all that stuff.
We've seen it put to use so far a little bit.
He had Yuri in that guillotine that was super tight.
Yeah.
I mean, a dude that strong with arms that long, guarantees he's fairly good at jiu-jitsu.
He was kind of able to do pretty well with Jan Blachowicz too. What I mean? Who grappled him heavily, and he was able to kind of get up here and there, and I feel like in those moments everyone's like, why would you give it to him? It was just all striking. I think it's more like he earned it, and this was a cool moment to give it to him.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
So yeah, it's Alex Pereira, man, just like headlining UFC 300 milestone. This guy just came into the UFC, and it somehow it still makes sense. You're like, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
And then the co-main event, we had Wei Li and Yao Xiaonan. This was kind of it. This had a lot of interesting moments in it.
Definitely.
Yao Xiaonan came correct in this fight.
She did.
She came to fight. She showed up her very best self, and she was not gonna be embarrassed. And she fought valiantly. But Wei Li, how cool was that moment in the first round when Wei Li had the choke?
Insane. So like, I guess the rule on that, right? So after she got choked out, she was still kind of somewhat conscious, right? She steps up.
Well, it's like she was out, but she came to, right?
You also notice Wei Li held it for like an extra second. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she knew.
Yeah.
As you should. I would do the same thing.
1 second ain't gonna hurt.
And she got up and was wobbled. And then when she gets to her corner, they're not allowed to like assist her in walking to her corner. They could just point.
Yeah.
Right. So the one the one guy was trying to like hold her up, and they told him to let go. And then when she got in the corner, they were like giving her like smelling salts or whatever because Rogan was talking about it.
Okay, yeah.
Because he had something on his finger and was putting it in her nose and trying to wake her up. So the ruling is she has to.
Did you see it though? Because we never went back and looked at it.
I saw it. He had like some blue liquid on his glove and was putting it in her nose, right? Something. I don't know what it was.
And DC snitched.
Yeah, but the ruling is she has to answer the bell, meaning like the 10-second warning bell that leads to the next round, right? When they say seconds out, 10 seconds, she has to answer that, and she did. So yeah, you can't call the fight there.
It was just so perfect, the timing of it, where it's like she was out, but as Wei Li let go, she started to like sort of breathe heavier, wobbled herself up, made her way to the corner, and then they exposed. Yeah, they said like I think they gave her smelling salts, which absolutely sounds illegal, right?
It does, but I don't know if it is or not. In
Be.
Boxing they do it all the time.
I mean, I feel like if that was legal, people would be like, take a whiff of smelling salts right before you go out there every time.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you?
Too.
So, and that's the thing. DC brought it to light. We never went back to check like the visual to see if it happened. They never showed a replay. They came on the commentary and said, "Oh no, I had it mistaken. It didn't happen." It's like they covered it up.
Yeah.
And you're saying that there was something?
There definitely was something. Yeah, I saw it on his glove. But what's crazy too is like getting choked unconscious. You feel so weird when you come to it. It's like you just had like a crazy dream. You know those dreams where you're like falling asleep and it feels like you're falling off a cliff and you like that's what happens. And then you get like this weird full body high and you're kind of just like in a dream state for like a minute. So that's crazy that she dealt with that.
Have you been out like that?
It's too many times. At least
really?
at least 10 times put out bad from jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Joe Rogan always talks about how he never went out because he always taps.
Oh, you know what it is though? Everybody who goes out, the last second before they go out, they're thinking about tapping. So every time I'm like, I'm about to tap, and I'm out.
And then it's like that.
Yeah, I just waited. You waited too long. Yeah, definitely.
Almost like. Yeah.
I've been put out too many times. Yeah, so it's like it's very weird, but you get this like jolt of energy after.
Yeah.
But you're really confused as to what's going on. So it's crazy that she probably was dealing with that and then still managed to come out and like look good after that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I've never been like knocked unconscious. I've never like hit my head or anything where I've had a flash, you know?
Yeah,
I've
from
had
football,
flashes.
definitely. Yeah, you've definitely had those.
I mean, yeah, and it happens sometimes like giving them too, you know? Like,
yeah.
I've had some stingers, some bad stuff, but I've never like went out as far as choke or hit. You know?
Yeah, the knockout thing's different because you wake up with this insane headache. Like
Have you felt that too?
Yeah, I've been knocked out cold one time. Yeah.
Was it sparring or?
It was sparring in a boxing gym, and I got slept. And
all boxing. You were boxing.
It was all boxing. Yeah, and I came to and I was like halfway in the ropes. And I just remember coming to, and then I'm like, had this pounding headache, and I was super emotional. Like I wanted to start crying,
wow.
And it was like uncontrollable emotions. It was really weird.
So you understood.
And I was super concussed. So it was terrible.
When
but
DC cried after John Jones, that made sense.
I had that same face, the DC face. That's where you got to plug in the DC face right now.
Plug in the DC face. Mark the time.
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh man. Jesus Christ, bro! I know. I feel like the last time we did this, it was the first time I noticed you had the cauliflower ear. Meanwhile, like I've seen you like a few times before this.
It gets worse and worse. Yeah.
Recently, yeah. Damn wild, bro. I'm sitting next to a damn pit bull over here.
Nah, I wish.
I'm just gonna move over a little bit. No, scroll down a little bit. All right, yeah, this one. You know, this was interesting because the last round, Charles almost got that choke off in the end, but it just wasn't like it wasn't there. It wasn't the right setup. It wasn't like locked in.
Sarukian did the best defense to a Darce. When you're like a really tight Darce like that, you just need to belly down and just kind of like make yourself as flat as possible.
Yeah.
Because Oliveira really had to turn him.
Yeah.
Once you get him to his hip, once you get him to his hip, you could really drive your hips forward. But Sarukian,
that leverage to keep folding him in, right?
Yep, and Oliveira had like his grip was tight, but he was barely grabbing the bicep. It's also really tough to do Darces with MMA gloves because they kind of slide. You don't get that really good grip on your bicep.
Oh, like if it was just bare hands.
Yeah, you get a way better grip. But yeah, Sarukian, there was like a few more seconds he would have been out of that anyway. And then you saw as soon as the round ended, Sarukian sprung right up and started raising his hand. So he wasn't like almost going out, but Oliveira was definitely trying to send it.
What was this the fight we were talking about last night when Mike when we were saying like, oh, if it was like Pride rules and it was like 20 minutes, like that's where these rules come into play, where we really want to know who's better, because if you give people the proper time, like who cares how the round goes, like you can get it off. Charles is always the king of that. Like he's always at the end of the round ready to just end a fight, and then he gets cut out of time.
Yep. Sarukian did a great job of keeping Sarukian did a great job of keeping Oliveira his head on the cage, because you can't really like swivel your hips and open up your guard and attack those arm bars and triangles and everything that he does so well. So
dude, he's a well-rounded. First of all, his physique is absolutely insane. Like he's just like, no Diddy, just like a perfect masculine physique. Like, but he's also just like these dudes, like the skill, the talent. It blows my mind sometimes, like how dudes get this good. You know what I mean? Like a dude like him or I'm excited now. I'm very excited for him and Islam to rematch, because they fought once before when he just came into the UFC and
he won some of those grappling exchanges, which is crazy.
And it was late notice. I think it was like short notice.
What's crazy about this? They said that Sarukian did his camp with Fedor in the mountains of Russia. They were saying that when he was walking out, and I was like, damn, yeah. So he was training with Fedor, which is awesome.
Good, man. Charles still like held his own though.
But definitely not split decision. That was off.
Yeah, because the thing about it for me, it was 1-1 going into the third, and Sarukian pretty much held it down the whole third round, and then Charles just
that guillotine was tight. Yeah, the guillotine was tight too.
What, the first round?
Yeah. But I mean, you got to go based off of damage. Yeah, he literally like was scooting out of the guillotine and had his shorts around his ankles.
He had a teeth grind. He was he was doing everything he could to stay awake there.
And dude, a Charles Oliveira guillotine, that's no joke.
Very, very Volkanovski, Brian Ortega.
Yes, exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, damn, poor Charles, man. Do Bronx. But you know what? Even in defeat, looked great. Like no drop in stock at all.
Hell no.
This guy is right there with the best and easily can be champion if he wants to be. It was a close fight, and if you give that guy more time, a 5-round fight. That should have been a 5-round fight.
Exactly. A bunch of these fights should have been 5 rounds.
A bunch of these fights should have been. Yep. That's the problem with these big cards. You're like, we got to get Charles Armin as like the second fight of the night, and it's 3 rounds. That's a main event. That's a championship caliber fight. Like, we need more time. And Charles was not tired. You know what I mean? And neither was Armin. But
no. What about Sarukian punching that fan? Just walking to the octagon. That was awesome. Before. He was just walking down, and the dude like stuck his middle finger at him and was like looking at him, and he just he hit him. That's hilarious.
Did you see what Dana said in the press conference? They asked him about it.
No, I didn't see it.
They asked him about it, and he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, this and that, blah blah blah. And he kind of like just said like a right answer to it, and then just followed it with, we're probably gonna get sued. We'll take care of that on Monday.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. Bo Nickel. This was everyone was kind of upset about Bo Nickel, and including myself. But you know what? We kind of talked about it. It sort of made sense in a way too. That Bo Nickel should have probably been the last prelim fight, and Yuri Prochazka and Rakic should have been the first fight.
Definitely.
But that Yuri fight did set up the card pretty well.
It did.
If anyone was ever on the fence about buying the pay-per-view and then seeing that Yuri fight, so the Bo Nickel, this was it was fun. It was, at first I was being judgmental because Bo faced some adversity with Cody, because Cody is a good wrestler. So I feel like he just gave his all in the first round to defend as much as that wrestling as possible, and it made for like a somewhat of a problem for Bo to get a finish at least. But then he worked through. He went through his progressions and got it done and made it I thought impressive anyway.
Cody came out with like some jumping strikes and everything, and he was definitely a showman.
Yeah.
But he was just very outmatched. I think Bo Nickel, it's kind of tough too because if he doesn't get, a finish in 2 minutes, everybody's like booing. It's like, man, he's cooking them. It wasn't like at no point was Bo Nickel in trouble. Even like the scrambles, Bo Nickel won every single scramble, and a few times I think Bo Nickel shot from like too far out, but. I mean, he wasn't getting tagged up. I do want to see him against somebody who could like threaten a good knee on the way in. Now Bo Nickel really needs to close that distance because he's still pretty uncomfortable in the boxing range. Mm-hmm. He likes being really far out and really, really close. So
we were talking about like, so that's the thing. Now it's impressive win, and he said all the right things. He was like, I'm almost happy I got to go a second round, get more experience. Like when people say that, I'm like, this is a smart guy.
Yep.
He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he needs to do to get better. But the thing is now, that did kind of show a human side where I'm like, now how well are you going to do against a Hamza or a Gilbert Burns? I think Gilbert Burns is a matchup that could make sense. That's a really good
matchup. When Bo Nickel came out in the second round, I was like, is he going to get nervous because, he's got to get this finish? Mm-hmm. He came out in the second round and like threw a left kick right to the liver, like really nice. And I was like, damn, like he's confident in his striking, which is good.
If anything, during the fight, I was yelling for him to. I felt like he kind of started to lose his head in a sense where he was forcing the wrestling rather than I was like, bro, you got better hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Knock him out.
Yeah.
Stand there. Like give it a chance. You know what I mean? This goes back to what we're talking about with the people like Max Holloway, or even like throw Connor in there, throw Michael Chandler in there. People that can wrestle, have ability, but it's just always standing first, and then we'll go from there. You know what I mean? And in the prime example of where Bo Nickel was probably the better striker, and could have maybe made a highlight and got his. He knows he can wrestle. I think he maybe got touched with a couple things.
He did get touched up a little bit. I want to see him like get tagged though. I want to see him like kind of like how Hamzat got tagged by Gilbert Burns and he had to face that adversity. That's why when you said Gilbert Burns, I'm like, damn, that reminds me of the Hamzat fight.
Gilbert is the what do you call it? The gatekeeper now of the. Well, he's not a middleweight actually. Is that what he is? No. So why did we bring up Gilbert? I guess we were just saying someone. Well,
we were
Gilbert.
Talking about Hamzat, and Hamzat was 70. So you're correct. He's technically 70, but somebody like that.
I mean, even if you wanted to fucking push, I'd still let Gilbert go up to middleweight.
You'd probably do it, right?
He could do it. Yeah. He's a great grappler and he's a fucking amazing striker. He's just like probably a lot smaller and shorter though.
Yeah.
All right. So shout out Bo Nickel. I mean, he's here, and he's here to stay. And maybe I was also thinking like a Kevin Holland.
Yes, that's a good fight.
That could be crazy. Although he'd probably just get wrestled.
Imagine Bo Nickel, Venom Page. Just send it. Just send it. Who cares?
I mean, yeah, because because dudes like that. Well, no, we just keep bringing up welterweights now.
Yeah, you're right. That's true too.
But I know what you're saying though. Just that matchup of a blitzing karate guy.
Sometimes the welterweights and middleweights get blended together because a lot of those guys bounce around.
And Venom Page is a big guy. He's tall.
Yeah.
All right, scroll down. We got to talk about the Yuri. I mean, Yuri. Talk about. I love everything this guy said. He almost made me emotional. Like, remember he was like. He was talking about, I know I'm not a. This is a funny comparison. He was like, I know I'm not a samurai, because Alec Rakic was saying
like trying to clown him.
Yeah, trying to clown him like he thinks he's a samurai. You're not a samurai. It reminded me. Have you ever watched Dodgeball?
Yeah.
It reminded me of when they told the dude he wasn't a pirate, and he just got sad and went back to normal society.
Oh man.
Yuri kind of was like, I know I'm not a samurai. But I loved it though. He's like, but I fight with that energy, and I'm like, bro, we know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck what he's talking about.
You're not killing people with a sword, obviously, but he plays into it. It's his it's his persona in a way.
Exactly, and it feeds him. And look at that fight, man. He gritted it out. He was in trouble. That leg was beat to shit.
So swollen, and like every single time he looked like he was like hopping.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's hurt, and then he would just like get back in his stance and just switch stance, whatever. I'm like, damn, he's just eating those low kicks,
eating them, and then he did what he had to do, which is you can't stand and like kind of point fight. You got to like get in there. You got to close that distance so those leg kicks aren't frequent, because the leg kicks are what was setting everything up for Rakic.
Yeah,
and Rakic looked good too, though. He looked good.
He did.
I mean, he was like lean. He was fast. They were both fast. Man, it's crazy when you get these like athletic big guys, that just throw with that speed. It's just insane. it was such high pace and crazy fucking power and everything they were throwing.
We got Aljo and Cater.
Aljo Cater, basically, yeah, you know, this was the one snoozer. It was really just Aljo did what he had to do to get the win. Although I gotta say, I don't want to put it all on Aljo. I was also disappointed in the lack of Cater's volume, or the lack of his, you know, he just didn't get off at all. He didn't throw anything.
I think both guys were trying to get the decision, you know, in a way. Like
Cater also
that's
took a lot
what
of
it
time
felt
off,
like.
A little bit of ring rust, I think. Although that's not real for everyone, but for him, it's felt like it. He's usually aggressive.
Both guys had very obvious game plans. It just sucks for Sterling because he's getting booed, and like, you know, he goes from being a champ and a main event to now prelim. Granted, it's 300, so that's an exception. But yeah, he did what he had to do. It wasn't super exciting. It was one of the more boring fights on the card. And then you have that, you know, 300K bonus hanging over everybody's head, and you thought like he would bring it a little bit more, but yeah, it takes another dance partner for that to work too.
So I was thinking now after that, because now he's at featherweight and he's, you know, obviously I think he would like to try to make a title run. And now I'm looking at him like, all right, if you want to try to make it like real entertaining no matter what and sort of see where you really stand, like just throw him against Volk. And then if you beat Volk, you're getting a title shot.
That's a good fight. I like that idea.
Because it gives Volk a chance to bounce back against a new, you know, grapple heavy style opponent. And Aljo, it's like you beat Volk, you're going to get your title shot. And obviously now we got Max and Taporia, so you got to do something with Volk now.
Yeah.
I forget who was really out there in the featherweight that's right there. I mean, I always like Arnold Allen, but I think he's coming off an L.
Yeah.
Or maybe his last one was a win, but he caught that L to, was it Max? Yeah. Did he win the next one after that?
I'm not sure if he fought after. I imagine
he did. He did fight. I just can't remember who
though.
was against. I believe he pulled out a win though. We'll get to it when it comes back. Kayla Harrison made her debut against Holly Holm. Pretty much, kind of went the way I thought it was going to. Where a little interesting in the stand up, and then once she got a hold of her, it was just gonna get her to the floor, ground and pound, and that's kind of where it went. And then opened her up, submitted her.
I thought Holly was going to be able to stay off the fence a little bit and just kind of like point spar like she does. I thought it was going to be a boring decision towards Holly, right? So it was interesting. Holly with that reversal was pretty awesome, right? When she got hit with that hip throw and she rolled through.
I mean, and then she got ambitious and went for the takedown.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Because that's like that ego moment where you're like, if she gets that, it's like the crowd's going to erupt.
Exactly.
But it was just immediately just reversed, and fucking those judo hips just tossed her ass back down, and then that's kind of where it went downhill. But Holly did good. I mean, she for an old lady.
Yeah, she's not moving as fast as she used to, right?
That reversal was impressive. You know what I mean? That was cool to see. I mean, she's a strong girl. Scroll down a little bit. We got Diego Lopez, Sadiq Youssef. This dude Lopez is just like steamrolling his way to the top. He's must see, all action type of fighter. I mean, it's just impressive to do that to Sadiq. Like Sadiq is like competition for anybody.
He is.
And Diego steamrolled him.
Yeah, this fight was good because it was kind of weird because it's like, not that it didn't belong on the card. It was really good for Diego Lopez, but it's like there were so many big names before this fight, and this one kind of just flew under the radar. Like nobody talked about it at all. Mm-hmm. But obviously he showed out, got the quick KO.
Agreed. This was the one fight that didn't make sense as far as name value for the rest of the card. But yeah, I mean, but Diego is making a name for himself now. He's solid, man, and he's confident, and yeah, he's got a thing about him. He's very smiley and happy guy, although he has like the emo haircut. He has an emo mullet. It's like it's the craziest haircut ever. It's only something a Brazilian would do.
Because tonight will be the night. He's got that haircut. Yeah.
Fuck is up, daddies. Yeah.
He's a beast, though.
All right. Clinch
elbows.
Early prelims.
Or clinch uppercuts. All right.
The Renato Moicano.
Money Moicano.
First of all, how does Jalen Turner make lightweight?
It's crazy.
This guy is 6'3".
Yeah.
He's ginormous.
All legs and arms.
I was saying he must have like hollow bones or something. Like there's no way. He's such a huge guy to make 155, and it makes for a dangerous fighter at 55. But Moicano, man. So I kind of said coming into this, I sort of made a prediction that Moicano was going to feed off that 300 crowd energy, and he really
does.
did.
Yeah.
I mean, he got hurt. He got real hurt in the beginning. Yeah. He almost went out.
I was torn with this fight because I wanted Jalen Turner to win, but I wanted Moicano's post-fight interview. So when he won, I was like, "Here we go. This is good." But I like Jalen Turner.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I want you on my podcast. He said, "I love America.
I love the First Amendment.
I love the Constitution."
Just saying random shit. Jalen Turner's like a semi-local guy. Like he trains a lot in Jersey, and you know, you kind of
right?
you see him around a little bit. His jiu-jitsu coach, this guy Ozzy,
isn't Moicano top team though, or am I bugging?
Moicano, yeah. Turner is local.
Yeah.
So I always try to root for like local tri-state guys, even if they're not originally from here, if they train in this area, because you kind of like bump into them randomly at like whatever MMA shows.
You really shoulders with these dudes
sometimes like MMA shows, local small MMA shows, or like jiu-jitsu tournaments, you'll see these guys. And you just want to root for the guys that you meet. I didn't meet Jalen Turner, but he's just an example of somebody like that.
He's like at the gym that you have. Like,
he's around. He's definitely around.
Didn't you go there recently? You said weren't you recently like training down in Jersey?
No, not recently. I used to go to Catone's and do MMA sparring. So you would run into like everybody would be in that room, and I totally didn't belong there, but I would just be in there trying my best, sparring guys like Corey Anderson and stuff. And you would see like Cody Garbrandt, you would see Frankie Edgar, and cool. I used to like a few years back when I was trying to fight.
Speaking of Cody.
Oh, let's talk about that. Let's scroll. Yeah, we're going to skip the Andrade fight.
Yeah.
We'll come back up to Jim Miller, Bobby Green after.
I was one of those people that was like, Cody, big underdog, maybe a good chance, maybe comes out and it gets a flash knockout. And
he had a good first round, though.
Good first round. I think I had him to win the first round, too.
Definitely.
And then, was it this? When did he get subbed? It doesn't even say. Oh, round 2.
Yeah, round 2. Yeah.
So,
the end of round 2.
Yep, Figgy just got him to the floor, and then he's just a monster on the ground.
He had him stuck in that arm triangle. He went back to mount.
Oh, yeah, he fought out of some shit.
He did.
He fought out of some shit.
It's
Cody's tough as they
come,
man. He's a gangster, man. He's a gangster. It's like, as corny as he can be sometimes, as like full of himself he can be, he's a fighter, man. He's game. He's always game.
Yeah.
He's just a little bit of a hothead, and like, maybe doesn't have like, he's not as strong mentally in a sense of keeping his composure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like too like machismo. He's out there and just wants to sit down and throw. Figgy at bantamweight is interesting though. I think that's his weight class now.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is. I don't think he'll ever cut that weight again.
Yeah, he looked really good.
Yeah.
He had some power. He was like switching his stance, throwing crosses off the switch. Everything was beautiful.
He's a good striker too.
And then he got that takedown, just straight up control.
Yep. Solid way to that's what we opened the card with, and then from that rolled right into Jim Miller, Bobby Green. Jim Miller, obviously, big story going into it. He's been around forever. Both these guys have actually been around for a long time.
Yeah.
They've been matched up before. It never happened. They've been matched up twice. Jim Miller fought on 100, UFC 100, UFC 200. Got wins in both of them. I think he holds the record for most wins. He's like tied or second for most finishes.
Yeah, most UFC fights.
He's like, he has a shit ton of records that he holds. I was actually thinking that he was gonna retire after this. I mean, Jim Miller got fucking knocked out in the third round. He did well in the first round.
He did really well in the first round. And once he got cut, it kind of went downhill.
Yeah, it did fuck with his vision. He was like wiping at it. It was bad. It was a bloody mess.
Yeah, and Bobby Green was just talking shit. He was just talking hands down, talking shit, and like nobody talks shit to Jim Miller. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was like it was almost weird.
Guy.
And then Jim Miller at the end of the first round, like still like dapped him up, and I was like, damn, he's game. But
did you see
big win.
The thing pop up in the beginning where it was like keys to victory and trash talk was on Bobby
Green.
Oh,
was it really? That's hilarious.
And it was the thing that got him knocked out. He trash talked him in. He did the max, like trash talked him to like let's throw down right now, and then just he came in and just knocked him.
Yeah, I picked Jim Miller in this, just like I don't know. I kind of picked with my heart, but like I wanted to see Jim Miller get a sub. That would have been crazy.
Yeah. Could have happened, man. And he also wobbled Bobby Green a few times in that fight.
He did. He had him
late in the fight too. Even in the third round, as late as the third, I believe he wobbled him.
Jim Miller's such a dog.
He is a dog, and I thought it was it could have been a good moment for like to get a nice crowd send off if he wanted to retire. But I think maybe he might at this point he could just start to pad his record and probably get some wins against some, unranked guys or whatever you want to call it. He's still Jim fucking Miller. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He's a gangster.
They didn't announce it like that, did they?
No,
they didn't.
I was kind of hoping, and then I realized it's on ESPN, and Bruce isn't going to do that.
Yeah, it's a prelim. Yep.
Should have done it anyway. But and that was really the UFC 300 card. I feel like we covered it pretty well. Where we at time wise? 47. About 50. Yeah, right about 50. So real quick, just before we sign off, I wanted to ask, because we talked about it last time, when we recorded last time, you were setting up to go to Vegas to the ADC trials.
Yeah, I went to the ADCC trials. It was pretty awesome. I lost first round, but
met some fighters out there.
Yeah, I met everyone out there. Yeah,
there was a lot of people out there when you went.
Yeah, so I stayed at the hotel that had the convention center and everything. So I was on like the 22nd floor, and my neighbor next door to me was Jocko. So I ran into Jocko like every day. I would run to him in the elevator.
Wait, Jocko was your room?
Yeah,
next
one
door?
over was Jocko staying with his daughter.
Jocko Willing.
Jocko Willing, good. Yeah. So I ran to him a few times.
Good.
I ran into just like
orbital bone. Good.
Just everyone in jiu-jitsu is so approachable, which is cool because no other sport can you go to an event and just be like, oh, here's this guy. Let me go talk to him. Here's this guy. I met Eddie Bravo. He was super cool.
What? You met Eddie Bravo?
He was super chill.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You also met Valentin. You met a lot of cool people.
Yeah, Valentin I just met on the Vegas Strip.
You met Valentina too. You've trained with Valentina before.
Yep. I did a seminar with her. But yeah, it was super cool experience. And then jiu-jitsu is just everybody's so chill.
Did you tell her that when you saw her?
Yeah, she didn't remember. Yeah. I said something. I don't even remember what I said. I was like starstruck. I'm like, there's no way. But yeah, Vegas was awesome. I was out there, and then I was coaching a tournament last week. Franco Bastone, shout outs to Franco. He competed. Yeah. So we were in
I saw that. Franco looks like a savage.
He's a savage, bro. Yeah, he's definitely getting real good at jiu-jitsu.
You can see it in his face in the pictures alone. Like he's locked in.
Yeah, dude,
he's locked in.
He beat the shit out of a few dudes. So that was cool. So we went to
shout out Franco.
Yo, shout outs to Franco.
Fade master.
Yo, FP3. Shout outs FP3.
FP3.
Funeral Franco.
Funeral Franco.
So I went to Long Island with him, and I was out there for a few days. So the past few weekends I've just been traveling. I haven't really been home. And now I'm just kind of settling back. It was great to watch UFC 300 at my house because I'm like, damn, it feels good to just be at my house where I could sleep in my own bed. It's been a while, but
that must suck too if you go out and then you're like it's 1:30 in the morning, then you got to drive home.
Yeah, I know, man. And then the gym is still in the works. Like I'm building the gym out, getting ready to open that. That's going to open up May 1st.
Is that official?
Yeah, I'm going to do May 1st. I'm going to start the adult classes May 1st, then I'm going to start kids classes June 1st. And right now I'm there every day, multiple hours a day, just, building it out and getting everything ready.
Man, I can't wait. Once you're like up and running, we'll put up some good pictures.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Man, I can't wait. That's so exciting, man. I'm excited too because it's just going to be a cool opportunity. A cool place for like, I don't know. It's just now that we're doing this podcast and I'm gonna be around it more. I just feel like it's gonna naturally kind of put me into like taking classes.
There's nothing better than
getting my footing in the sport, I should say.
Yeah, there's nothing better than just networking too. You go to jiu-jitsu schools and you meet so many cool people.
Yeah.
So many different jobs and like. It's awesome. You can network with anyone over there.
Damn, I'm gonna forget. I think his name was James. There's a yoga teacher at one of my studios. Trains at Evolution, is a black belt. I think the name is James. She was, and it was just cool because I was first of all after these yoga class, some of these yoga classes, or at least on Saturday, I literally would end it. Well, I give my little words of positivity, send them off with a nice namaste, and then literally like I made an announcement like if anyone has been interested in getting into MMA, there's a big event.
Really?
I literally like promoted UFC 300.
That's cool.
I was like, even if you're not, like,
the dude's a black belt though.
Yeah, he's a black belt, and he's been I said I was like he must have been doing it for a very long time.
Does he train at Evolution or he just dropped in?
No, I believe Evolution.
Interesting.
Or at the very least, like is very familiar. Yeah, because she started naming what was his name? Mike is the
Palladino. Yep.
Yep. It might not be James. Maybe it's another name. Oh man, I'll have to I'll get the name after the
Yeah,
podcast.
as soon as
anyway.
you say it, I'll definitely know.
Yeah. And then you can expose if he's a black guy.
No, yeah, my days of doing that are over. Yeah, we did that a long time ago. There's a funny YouTube video of us exposing a fake black belt in Marlboro, and it got like 8 million views. It's called BJJ Police. Yeah, it's hilarious. Looking back, it's kind of cringe, but me and Palladino went to this gym. It was actually more Palladino, but I was there.
No, it's not. It's more cringe to be like out here talking about.
Yo,
like,
this dude, but this dude was like literally no experience teaching, like just bullshit.
Teaching?
Yeah, and he was like claiming he was Brazilian, and he was totally like
claiming he was Brazilian.
He was like Haitian or some shit. He definitely was not Brazilian.
Oh my gosh!
It was
putting on a fake accent.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Come in, he's like obrigado.
Shout outs to Jay Cueros, that guy. Nah, definitely don't shout him out, but look him up. Yeah, fake BJJ black belt.
Throw him some shade on all social medias.
Yeah, hilarious.
No, he probably learned his lesson. Honestly, maybe.
I mean, he
still teaching?
No, he shut down a day after.
Good.
Yeah, it blew up on YouTube. That's how the community is. They just sent it all out, and everybody's like, "What the fuck?"
Well, that's
is
what's cool about jiu-jitsu. You hold each other accountable. You're
exactly.
like, hey, what's going on?
It's like stolen valor, bro. It's like somebody walking around with a military uniform. It's the same thing. Like, yo, you didn't earn that. And then you start charging people money. Now it's like, yo, you're making money off of something you
people
don't
should
even
go
know.
to jail for that shit.
Yeah, legit.
That's
or at least
up.
get beat up.
Whoa.
Yeah.
On that note.
Anyways.
None of that fake shit going on at Snake Hill Jiu-Jitsu.
Nah,
dudes
the real deal.
They're certified fucking dogs out there. So look it up. Snake Hill Jiu-Jitsu, Highland, New York. Coming soon, May 1st.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to be out there. Are we going out there Monday, you said?
Yeah. I'm going to be out there tomorrow.
All right, bet.
I'm going to lay down the mats. I'm just going to get a few people in the doors just chilling. I might get some rolls in. I just want to show people like my ideas and what I'm trying to do with building it out.
I'd love to be there if it works. You know, we can
make
it work out.
We'll make it work.
All right. On that note, cue the music. Till next week. No UFC next week. Obviously, I mean, this was all just about 300, and I mean, I'm sure we'll cover anything that happens between now and then. So, but we should be here next week, and we'll talk about all the things happening, all the fights announced, more Poirier. We'll break down all these cool matchups that are being made. So yeah, till then, peace.
Peace.